Hello guys, this is Madam M for another baking adventure, and today I'm going to teach you how to make one of my favorite treats, cinnamon rolls. It's so easy to make and so delicious. Please stay with me until the end of this video and let's get started. And to prepare our dough, we need 2.5 cups of flour, 2/3 cup of sugar, unsalted butter, 1 large egg, 1 packet of instant yeast, half cup of water, half cup of milk, 1 teaspoon of salt. We are now in the process of activating our yeast, so let's combine the water and the milk together in a bowl. The next step for us to do is to warm this mixture in the microwave for like 30 seconds most probably. That should be good to go. Once we achieve the right temperature for this mixture, let's start adding 1 teaspoon of sugar and our instant yeast. This is ready, so let's give it a really good whisk. Let's set this aside and get back to this later. And now moving to our dry ingredients, let's start mixing 2.5 cups of flour with salt. And don't forget to soften our butter in the microwave. This is the liquid that we have set aside earlier, so if you notice, medyo foamy na siya on the top, which means it's ready. Our yeast is ready, so let's start adding up the butter that we have warmed from the microwave. It's time to add the 3/4 cup of sugar. After combining all the ingredients together, so we can start whisking the mixture. Just whisk, whisk, whisk. Let's add the egg. And again, just give it a really good whisk for all the ingredients to combine together. At this point, we can now start gradually adding the flour that we have set aside earlier and continue to whisk the mixture. After a few minutes of mixing our dough mixture, I think ready na siya for us to work our way out sa next process, which is kneading the dough. After a few minutes of mixing, ganito na po ang itsura ng dough natin. And now this is the time to knead our dough na medyo tedious talaga ang process na to. So it would take about like 8 minutes for us to work it out. Kneading this dough that long will help us achieve the right texture for the dough. Our dough is almost ready. Just a few minutes of kneading this and we'll be good to go. After a few minutes of kneading this dough, I guess this is how we wanted this dough to come out. We have done a test also on this, so I guess this is now ready. I have with me a bowl that I had sprayed on with cooking spray earlier. I will transfer our dough in this bowl and let it sit for about an hour, and we will cover it with a plastic cling to rise. After an hour, our dough have risen and have doubled in size now. This is exactly how we wanted this to turn out. The next process would be rolling the dough. Before that, we have to make sure that we spread much of the remaining flour on our mat. This will prevent our dough from sticking to the mat. We will roll the dough out in a rectangular shape. So while we are doing this rolling thing, make sure that every now and then we spread a little of those flour to prevent it from sticking to our rolling pin. Our dough is now in a rectangular shape, so this is ready. For our filling, we need to add 1 cup of brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of our vanilla extract, and we'll just give it a really good mix. It's time now to spread butter on our flattened rectangular dough. Now it's time for us to spread the sugar mixture. Just make sure that we spread them evenly across. Now what we wanted to do is to roll the dough. Just make sure it's nice and tight when we're rolling the dough. There you go guys, our rolled dough with filling. And what I want to do now is to divide the rolled dough equally or evenly depending upon the size that you want. And to make a really nice clean cut, I am using dental floss to cut my dough. I am placing my cut rolls into this baking pan which I have already spread with butter earlier. what we're going to do next is to let it rise again for about 30 minutes. We will cover it with a plastic cling and we'll leave it for a while. After 30 minutes, our rolls have doubled its size. Now it's time to spread butter on top of it before we bake it in the oven. Spreading butter on top of it will add more flavor to our treats and make it more golden brown on the top. In a preheated oven, we will bake these goodies at 375 for 15 to 20 minutes. And while it's baking, it's time for us to go ahead and make our glaze. And for our glaze, we need 1½ cup of powdered sugar, 1/4 cup of melted butter, and 1 teaspoon of our vanilla extract. Now let's give it a really good mix. And while we're doing that, at this point, we can start adding our first tablespoon of milk. And if you think that our mixture is still thick, we can start adding additional milk depending on the consistency that you really want for your icing. I like mine a little lighter para it's spreadable sa top ng ating cinnamon rolls. For me, this is the right consistency that I want for my vanilla icing. Finally, our cinnamon rolls are done and it smells really good and looks delicious. After letting it sit for about 5 minutes, it's time to glaze up these beautiful rolls. For you guys who really want your cinnamon rolls to be sweet, you can add as much as glaze as you want on top of it, or either ways you can also reduce that depending really upon how you wanted it for you. This is my first time to bake cinnamon rolls and I'm really happy how it turned out. Thank you very much for watching and see you in my next baking adventure. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. Thank you very much.